Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Sri Iyer. Joining me today is Sriram Seshadri ji. Three bills that got passed. It just went like a whisker. I mean, nobody even has time to read those things. But there are some significant changes in the Criminal Code of India. I'm also hearing, this is social media. I'm sure Sriram ji has a better clarity on this. One of the things that I've heard is that if somebody gets into relations, physical relationship, promising marriage, and then it turns out that the person was from a different religion, he had lied, that is punishable now. I believe that is what is the intent of that law. I don't know much about it, but I'm hoping that after this talk, you will know exactly what way the Indian laws are changing. So before we join Sriramji, please like this video, and if you have not already subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe to our channel. Here goes Sriram Seshadri. Namaskaram, sir. How are you?
Namaskaram. I'm very, very good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well, sir. So you can start in any order on the three new bills, sir. I'm really keen on understanding the real big things that are supposed to come into these things. Over to you, sir.
Sure. Thank you, sir. So, about last assembly session, just the last day of the parliament session, before this winter session happened, Amit Shah introduced three new bills. Replacing the old colonial bills, your CRPC and CPC, IPC and Indian Evidence Act. So he replaced these three bills. The aim for replacing these bills is predominantly to, enable a developed, evolved situation. What we had been having so far was British era, statutes. Of course, it has been amended as we progress, but still the preamble and the structure of it did not change much. It was almost the same, and then only as we progressed over a period of last 70 years, 75 years, we had, or rather more than 100 years, I should say, we have been actually amending these statutes to suit our needs. So what happened was the bill, it was changed. Three bills were introduced. One was, in short, I will use the nomenclature BNS, which is nothing but Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita. Okay, which is to provide, justice to the people. The Bharat Nyaya Sanhita replaced the IPC, Indian Penal Code. Then the same thing in the name of BNSS, Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, which replaced the CRPC, Criminal Penal Code. And then finally, we have BSB, which is nothing but Bharatiya Shiksha Bill, which is the Evidence Act. Okay, these are the three bills that got replaced. So it went to the standing committee for review, and then of course standing committee had BJP and non-BJP personnel, and they went through the entire statute, all the three statutes. Over a 3-month period, they had consulted more than nearly 3,000 experts on this particular bill that was presented. Why it was presented in an urgency in the last day of the previous session was there was a talk about replacing these three bills that was happening. And some of our, we have seen a lot of these liberal groups approaching Supreme Court and asking for a stay on these bills not to be presented, because of course government leakages would have happened. That's why it was presented in an urgent manner. The moment it is presented in the parliament, it becomes a property of the parliament, and then court does not have the jurisdiction to stop the process. Court can intervene only after the law has been passed in both the houses of the parliament, and a presidential assent is given. Then court can view these as with respect to the constitutionality of the provisions in the act. Until such time, it becomes a property of the parliament, and then nothing can stop that from happening. So, as we see in the in this monsoon session, one thing I probably would have loved is a serious debate that happened in the parliament about these bills and then discussed about it. But instead, nearly 90 from the Lok Sabha and then 40 plus, so nearly 140 MPs were suspended for their unruly behavior. And of course, this was a listed business, and hence, the business went on. There are controversies with respect to should the government have waited for or had a debate and then had everybody in place to pass this bill or not. But end of the day, as per the constitution, it has been passed and then presidential assent has been given. What these three bills does, almost like a 90%, it does not change much of the context of the, the IPC, Indian Penal Code, Criminal Procedure Code, and the Evidence Act. But there are some path-breaking changes that has been made. I'll come from the order of the Evidence Act. See, all along, what happens in the Evidence Act, there are several things that are discarded in court of law as evidences. In the course of investigation, when certain evidences are collected, unless otherwise it is corroborated with documentary proof, or unless otherwise it is corroborated with a confession, or unless and otherwise it is a established fact using a forensic methodology, there are several restrictions for evidence to be accepted in the court of law. For example, the digital record or digital trace of any conspiracy planning, or digital record of any communication that has happened, all these had been discarded. Indian Telecommunication Act was amended, which actually mandated even things like your WhatsApp and Telegram or any other this encrypted chat services to provide as evidences, which means WhatsApp today, with this new change in the digital acceptance or digital traces has to be accepted as an evidence. WhatsApp need to provide, if there is a government law enforcement agency requires an unencryption of the messages that was transferred between two parties who actually collided to commit a crime, then WhatsApp
colluded.
Is now colluded to provide commit a crime. Now WhatsApp has to provide that evidence, encrypt that, and then provide that message as an evidence. So some people talk about this as there is a lack of privacy. People talk about it as it is an intrusion by the government into privacy. There is no it's a draconian measure. But imagine India is going through the turmoil of terrorism and cyber terrorism and physical terrorism. A lot of terrorist act being planned in India with support from various left liberalism and neoliberalism that actually support these activities. So how would the government, they can't just go into an emergency like situation and then make it, the right to privacy or not a fundamental right. So that is why some of these statutory requirements are needed. Of course, this has to be examined by the Supreme Court, whether, it confides to the, constitutional guarantee of privacy. And also, there has to be checks and balances that has to be put in place, that, it is not an government doesn't turn rogue and then monitor every transaction that happens. So there have to be checks and balances, which I'm sure the rules will speak about it. So this is the big significant change that I see in the Indian Evidence Act that has come through. So predominantly when the evidences are digital evidences are acceptable, then this is a major change that I look at it. Second, there have been a significant discussion about the sedition law, which has been draconian for several, it was a British era statute, and then, we have been using this, and several people are being even now undergoing trial. And the sedition law is being replaced, but the word seditious or sedition has been replaced to the extent that it covers changes had been made to such extent that it still covers a protection of the government sovereignty of the country. if anybody, any act which actually impacts or any act against the sovereignty of the nation is still considered as a sedition act, and then that is punishable. Similarly, mob lynching. So when a mob mentality happens, previously if a group of 100 people from a community or a group lynches someone, or a group actually gets into act of crime, and citing this as a mob mentality, only the conspirator is punished. Now under this new provisions, if anybody or more over and above 5 people colluded to commit a crime as a mob, everybody can be booked under the criminal procedure code, and then punishments varies, of course. More importantly, on the the criminal procedure code, what I find very, very important and significant is India never had a concept of plea bargain. People in the US will understand what plea bargain means. India never had a concept of plea bargain, which means there are under trial suspects, if I were to use it, under trial prisoners are toiling in the prison, waiting for the trial to happen, almost serve their sentence more than halfway through to 75% of the sentence, and then imagine they just get acquitted. End of the trial, and then after maybe 15 years, 20 years, the trial ends, and then they get an acquittal. What happens to their under trial period? So there are provisions that have been made to effect, which means within the 30 days of someone being arrested for a crime, and if the person says that enters into a plea bargain, and then the amount of sentence is restricted to minimal sentences. This is a significant change. India never had this concept of plea bargain. This applies to all the criminal cases. It could be financial fraud, it could be cybercrime fraud, it could be a murder, it could be a theft, it could be anything. But as long as the criminal or accused enters into a plea bargain with the attorney within the first 30 days, then the judge can consider that as a evidence, and then judge can consider the plea bargain and then minimize the sentences, and immediately the case gets disposed of pretty quickly. The second biggest injustice that has been done to especially the poor accused or under trial is they, as I told you, they wait for years together as under trial prisoners, and then end of the day they get acquitted or convicted. Either way that can happen. So now there's a fundamental change, transformational change that has happened. Number one, the inquiry report of anybody who's getting arrested have to be filed within 24 hours. Okay, we may argue within 24 hours, if they don't file, what happens? Will that person have to be let out? Yes, I think the magistrate has the right, or the accused has the right to claim that he has to be let out until the proceedings happen. Of course, it has to go through the court process, but within 24 hours, the inquiry report has to be filed. It can be misused for sure. It has already been misused by people who have money. The richer misuses the law. So we have seen in Senthil Balaji's case that the ED does not even have the power to arrest because of the vagueness in the statute that have been there. So ED does not even have the power to arrest was the coin, and then they went for a habeas corpus petition, was filed in the High Court, and then went to Supreme Court. Of course, end of the day it was rejected. That's a different story. But if one had money, they could actually go through the legal process and then get scot-free. But in this case, the poor also gets the same benefit. Of course, then it can be misused within 24 hours if the police doesn't file, at least to the extent of illegal arrest. I use the word illegal arrest because many times police also enters into for the sake of closing the case, or for the sake of, we have seen in Tamil Nadu, we have seen several of the people who have been arrested, which has been held illegal by the court after 3 months, 6 months time, but they were in prison as an under trial, or they wait for the bail to be given. But all these can be restricted if within 24 hours, if the inquiry report is not furnished, and the person gets to get a bail and then remain outside the prison and then not an under trial prisoner. So it can be misused, no doubt about it. But at the same time, it is for the poor, it is a respite. And within 180 days of such an arrest, a charge sheet must be filed. Today, the charge sheet can be filed any day. Of course, it is there. 90 days period is there in some of the cases, and the preliminary charge sheet should be filed, and then the secondary charge sheet can be filed until the trial happens. But here, within 180 days, the charges have to be framed, and hence trial has to start in 180 days. And they have 90 days period to complete the trial, and judges can reserve the order not more than 45 days. You can't, the magistrate or the judge cannot reserve the order and then sleep over it till their retirement and then pronounce the judgment, after 2 years or something. It has happened. It has happened on several occasions. So judges can reserve the order, and within 45 days, they need to pronounce the order. So sometimes, there is a political game that is being played, that, the judges reserve the order, and then when the government changes, the order can be reversed. We don't know, because, I don't want to accuse the judiciary, but there are occasions where it has been reported. So all in all, if a criminal case, someone is being arrested, detained for criminal case, 24 hours, file the inquiry, by failing which the person gets the bail. 180 days, frame the charges. So, and within 90 days from the date of filing the framing the charges, complete the trial. Within 45 days, complete the pronouncement of the judgment, which means at maximum lapse of 1 year from the time someone has been detained till the conviction or acquittal happens. That's a very significant transformational. I think, we have seen this happening in various, countries abroad. But of course, there are exceptions to that. What if 180 days the charges cannot be framed? For example, Rajiv Gandhi assassination. It was a huge crime. And, it may even take a couple of years before the evidences can be ascertained. It can even take, multiple agencies across the world has to work towards it. So, special occasions, the magistrate has the power to extend the framing of charges, but by default, 180 days it has to be framed. Otherwise, the person gets scot-free, or person gets relieved from that crime. So, which means police cannot take a political vendetta on someone. Police cannot just make an illegal or inappropriate arrest. Police have to at least have a clear information on when the crime has happened. They need to investigate first before just jumping into an arrest. So there are a lot of changes that has happened which are significant. Of course, there are several criticisms that are being leveled out. Like Sri, when you talked about in sexual relationships or promises made to a woman that she will be they have a sexual relationship under the promise of getting married, and then later on, when the male refuses to marry, then it is punishable with 7 years imprisonment and all. These can be misused significantly. There have to be checks and balances. We need to see what are all the rules and framing of these charges, framing of these rules before we comment on it. And why should it be only for a female being or a woman being deprived or or being cheated? Why not a woman cheating on the male? So that also had to be included. I think courts will have to pronounce a lot on this. There are going to be, this law has to be settled in the court. First of all, there will be several pleas filed in Supreme Court challenging the constitutionality of these bills. As I said, 90 to 95%, nothing major changes that has happened. There's a significant another change that I look at it as definition of terror act. Previously, the definition of terror act had to be to the extent of not just the intent to carry an act, the act also had to be executed. Here, even a conspirator, with or without the knowledge, if someone is abetting to a crime with or without the knowledge, then without a voluntary knowledge, okay, with the knowledge and voluntarily abets, so they also are treated as a terrorist, and then they are punishable under the act accordingly. So there are a lot of transformational justice system, criminal justice system that has come into play. There are a lot of vagueness that were there in the CRPC and IPC had been removed. Evidences Act much more tightened to enable the digital era, and even the proceedings, even the filing of an FIR, filing of the charge sheet, everything has been digitized, mandated to be digitized. So a significant amount of transformation. I don't want to bore the audience with going through the statutory languages involved. I'm just trying to explain this in a simple language, and then highlights of these three new bills. And what are all the lacunae? Lacunae are still some places it is one-sided, like I talked about. It could be highly misused. Police can misuse some of these provisions to exercise a personal vendetta or a political vendetta to do that. But every statute has its plus and minuses. One need to see how courts view this, and whether courts pronounce certain judgments, or when the court comes into play and then pronounces some framing of the rules or checks and balances. When they start framing, this will become much more evident. But all in all, there is a time limit or timeline that has been prescribed by the statute, and which is very, very important, because one may know that there are over millions of cases that are pending, especially criminal cases. At least several lakhs are pending in various stages in the court, various stages of trial process, and this is important. Finally, before I close on this topic, any assets that have been procured or assets gained by a criminal act, the police or investigation agencies, law enforcement agencies has the right to confiscate, which was not present in the previous statute. So anybody who is gaining an asset, who is gaining certain accumulation of wealth and property, forget about it. It need not be money laundering to come under a PMLA circumstances. Someone actually takes a contract kill. It's just not that guy gets punished. The person's assets can be frozen, and then confiscation can happen. Finally, ex parte trial. Suppose someone commits a crime, flees the country, like Vijay Mallya, like Nirav Modi, and they refuse to come back. Trial can still happen and judgment can be pronounced. So that is the beauty of this new changes, which means that someone commits a crime and then escapes the law, and then leaves the country for some reason, or prevents arrest. For example, in Senthil Balaji's brother case, he's preventing arrest. He's not showing up. And imagine, the trial has to happen, and then because a person is not being traced, the trial didn't happen. I'll just give one personal, experience that I had gone through. My father, who was a postmaster in Kadalur, was witness to a CBI raid, in some of his earlier eras. And almost after he retired, 20 years after his retirement, CBI traced my father and then said he has to appear as a witness, because the person whom they raided, and then one of the criminal accused escaped and then was not to be caught. And then almost after 35 years or 40 years after this raid happened, they traced that person, arrested that person, and hence my father had to appear as a witness. He had to appear as a witness almost after 40 years. He literally forgot, right? So in such circumstances, when the person is absconding, trial can happen, evidences can be recorded, trial can happen even though the person is absconding. So law provides for trial without the criminals or accused presence. I'll pause here, Shriyayarji, so that, I don't want to go much more deeper to talk about the nuances of each statutory changes. Yeah.
Sir, one question that comes to my mind is they need to expand the judiciary and the police system by like 100%. Is there provision for that, sir?
So that is not part of the Criminal Procedure Code or IPC, because that doesn't deal with that. It's a more of an administrative decision. Definitely it has to be done so that, you expedite the cases. But the past cases do not overlap, do not actually get transferred into the new statute. Whatever, as on the presidential proclamation that happened, Hassan gave that day and before, whatever happened and booked under trial, will be treated as the previous in the previous IPC, CRPC, and Evidence Act. And anything after this, even the duration that I talked about, will apply only to any crime that has been booked, under the new statute. And there are certain provisions there are certain luxury given to the superintendent of police to decide whether, for example, in a terrorist case, whether it has to be the person has to be booked under UAPA or the new, Criminal Procedure Code, because the Criminal Procedure Code also carries most of the terror UAPA provisions into this. So at the level of a superintendent of police will decide whether to invoke UAPA or not. Eventually, UAPA probably over a period of time will probably will be dissolved, and the new Criminal Procedure Code will take care of all those provisions. So there are certain cutover mechanisms that have been given in the statute. But yes, I agree. Police force had to be extended, and judiciary had to be extended, and more importantly, it has to be strengthened. So this is a first step I see as a strengthening. At least statutorily it is strengthened now, and the human resources and hands and legs had to be added to that.
Thank you, sir. Now let's take a quick look at West Bengal and Bihar politics. I have been following Bihar, but I have not been following West Bengal. So let's start with West Bengal, sir. What is happening there? Abhishek beginning to make his moves?
Not just Abhishek. One, if you are a keen observer of politics, Amit Shah, as soon as the Telangana election got over, started concentrating on West Bengal, at least between the 5-state election and now. There are at least more than 3 visits of Amit Shah had happened. I think a couple of visits by JP Nadda. And last week, Pujaniya Mohan Bhagawat ji visited, RSS chief visited West Bengal in preparation for Lok Sabha. But I don't see that as a Lok Sabha election preparation. I see it as a much more bigger actions that are being happening. Number one, if you look at the West Bengal constitution, there are several places, constituencies, or at least about 25 to 30% of the constituencies where, like 24 Parganas district and areas, where the illegal immigrant, Bangladeshi immigrants who are acting as a voter base are very, very high. So, which means, unless and otherwise BJP gets into power in the state, they cannot rectify this, because the moment someone from the Bangladesh enters as an illegal immigrant, of course the BSF and others have to prevent them, but there are places where it is very difficult to protect the border, and moreover, the moment someone crosses over, it is very difficult to identify whether he or she is a Bangladeshi or a Bengali belonging to India, because they speak the same language, they look alike, the dialects are the same. So very difficult to identify. And then, of course, the local, the imams and other community that has been helping these people to settle down will quickly jump in and then create certain amount of, records to say that, they belong to this particular, Jamaat and all those stuff, Second thing is the state government has been exercising its right to give identity, like for example, a ration card or a state identity immediately, through which they gain Aadhaar card, through which they gain voters ID card, and then through which they become almost a citizens of India. So that is why Amit Shah, when he went immediately after the 5-state election to West Bengal, he said CAA will be implemented in West Bengal. Of course, CAA should have been implemented long back. It's a very long pending case. But CAA has been will be implemented in West Bengal. That is what or rather in India quickly, especially in West Bengal. That is what he quickly talked about. The second reason I see is there are few people who left BJP and then joined TMC are planning to come back. Okay, and I feel that they should not be accommodated. Of course, 1 second, sir. Some disturbances. So someone like a Babul Supriyo who quit BJP and then went to TMC is willing to come back now, and I don't know whether BJP should accept. In my opinion, he should not be accepted into BJP. But there are other people from TMC who look at 2024. Modi is going to return to power third time, so they want to gain their momentum there, and then that is why Amit Shah visits almost in the last 1 month 3 times. Nadda visited 2 times, held several rallies, and Mohan Bhagwat ji visited once again. So there is some sort of demographical changes that are happening in West Bengal, and Didi is silent about it. Mamata Banerjee is not even talking about it. She otherwise would have created a big hue and cry. I'm not anticipating a tie-up between a TMC and BJP, but I am not ruling out a tacit understanding between a TMC and a BJP that may be happening. And if you observe the last INDI alliance meeting that was held in Delhi, Mamata Banerjee was the first to come out very openly and then say proposed Mallikarjun Kharge as a prime ministerial phase. Second, she said Congress should not contest more than 300 seats. Of course, Congress doesn't have any other place to contest. That's a different story. But Congress should not contest more than 300 seats. And that is her stance, which means there will be a consensus candidate that has to be built up. And what she wanted to say is, spare West Bengal. Congress don't come into West Bengal. The second thing is she has been saying, I may even accommodate Congress in 1 or 2 seats because their presence is only in 1.5 seats or something, she says. I may even accommodate them in 1 or 2 seats, but not accommodate communists into the fold. So when you closely observe what is happening in West Bengal, there is a social re-engineering that BJP is great at doing is being executed. So there are places, there are at least about a dozen constituencies out of 40. There are about 18 constituencies where the minority population, especially the Muslim population, are a deciding factor, and 22 constituencies where the Hindu population is a deciding factor. And out of these 18, at least a dozen constituencies where the illegal immigrants are the deciding factor, with about more than 45 to 50% Muslim population, 24 Parganas and all these areas, right? And how does one win this election? Last time they won about 19 seats in West Bengal, or 17 or 19, I forgot, but or somewhere close to that number. I think 19. How would one retain that 19 seats and then extend that to 22 or 23? I think that is where BJP is concentrating. I just say this with a responsibility that they're not. The polarization is happening not because of BJP wants to polarize the Hindus. The polarization happened by the minority appeasing parties like TMCs and Congress. The counter polarization happens naturally. And in West Bengal, one should look at after the last assembly election. In fact, BJP, I would even use a very strong word, very responsibly, betrayed its cadres of not protecting the cadres from the onslaught by the TMC goons. And having said that, the tenacious BJP supporters and karyakartas of West Bengal are clearly standing up for themselves, and then they are not expecting the central BJP to step in any way, but at the same time, with their support, they want to increase their share to 50-50 party, at least 20 to 22 seats to be won by BJP in West Bengal, which will put Congress totally out of the equation. Communists, anyways, non-existence will be wiped out even in the vote share basis, and TMC will be in a precarious situation, that they need to align with BJP in some form or the other in the future, at least to retain their West Bengal statehood, power, presence, right? So that is what is happening. It's a very early signs. I think political observers probably are not talking about it, but it's a very early signs. But I could see that there are actions that is being taken by BJP in and what are they doing? I'll come to Bihar, but BJP is not, because they want to concentrate on Bihar, Odisha, and West Bengal. They're okay with South India, keep South India for later date, like Tamil Nadu or Kerala. Kerala, probably they don't have much of a presence or rather growth. But Tamil Nadu with Annamalai, there is a significant amount of traction. But anything is a bonus. A vote share increase is a bonus. 1 or 2 seats, gain to NDA is a bonus. But what the planners like Modi and Amit Shah are more keen on is isolate ADMK to the core and then make them a political orphan in 2024 elections to come. The moment that happens, and then ADMK will be confined mostly to a Kongu belt party. The southern districts where there are about 18 Lok Sabha seats, they will have they'll be marginalized, and in the northern districts, with some support, if PMK joins them, which I doubt 99% they are not going to join, with Vijayagant's demise, DMDK probably will have very less influence, except Virudhachalam area where about a couple of percentage point vote base. Other than that, they don't have any presence. So with distancing all the allies or the smaller parties away from ADMK, and the INDI alliance, DMK alliance staying intact, which I'm sure that it will stay intact until the election is over. Stalin will see to it. ADMK will get totally isolated and become a political orphan, which means, they will be sub 20% vote share, and then BJP combined will be somewhere equivalent vote share they will gain. The collateral damages, DMK alliance will get a larger number of seats because of that, fair enough. So BJP central leadership is reconciled to the fact, especially with the three-state election outcome and the robustness, Ram Temple to be consecrated on 22nd January 2024. The mood of the nation marching towards third time return. So they are concentrating on West Bengal, Odisha, because Odisha there is a strong party base, and then Naveen Patnaik is a very good friend of BJP NDA. So they don't want to disrupt him much, but at the same time they will grow in Odisha and marginalize Congress to a major extent. Bihar is going to be a very, very interesting game. Nitish Kumar finds himself in catch-22 situation. Similar to what Chandrababu Naidu felt in 2019, Nitish Kumar is facing, at least for the 4th or 5th time. I think he has switched sides, jumped here and there 4 or 5 times now. And Nitish Kumar sees that when BJP has made a Yadav chief minister in Madhya Pradesh, in Bihar, RJD, Lalu Yadav feels the pressure that BJP is cornering the Yadav vote base in Bihar. So Lalu Yadav wants his son Tejasvi Yadav to become the CM immediately, so that at least for next 2 years he will be the CM phase. And Nitish Kumar doesn't want to give that space. Nitish Kumar aligned with RJD only because he wanted to remain the chief minister. Now his chief ministership is going to be at stake. and hence, he wants to jump ship to NDA. And Manji, who actually expressed this, saying that Nitish Kumar in talks with BJP. In fact, if you remember, Shriyarji, in some of the program, I even said that Nitish Kumar will return to BJP sooner or later, because the way that he exited gives a significant amount of doubt in one's mind. After the vice presidential election, he quit NDA. He should have quit before, so that he creates a trouble for the vice president candidate and presidential candidate of BJP. But he waited till the vice president election got over, and then he quit the NDA, which means he has been given a farewell to leave the alliance, to enter any point in time. Maybe a tacit understanding. But Nitish Kumar now wants to come back, and that is one of the reasons that he is antagonizing DMK to be part of the India alliance. So he's creating all these gimmicks so that he can quickly get into the good books of Amit Shah and Modi, and then come back to NDA. My humble opinion, BJP should not consider. But there is a significant amount of talk, I am aware, that is happening, that BJP will consider return of JDU and not return of Nitish Kumar. There is a formula being worked out, is what I see, where Nitish Kumar would be given a retirement position, something like a governorship, maybe after 2024 election. But he should step down as a CM, and BJP will become the CM. BJP will nominate its own CM with a 2 deputy CM for JDU. I think that's a formula. I feel that it has been working out in Bihar. Hopefully by about mid-January or to end January, we will see this tectonic shift that is happening in Bihar, which means another big blow for the India alliance. One of the important constituent of the India alliance, or rather who actually created this India alliance, spearheaded this India alliance, would leave, and he will be sent on a retirement mode. Nitish Kumar will have to pay the price of the bride, because he was the one who jumped ship. Now if he wants to come and then save his political future, he will get his political future, but as some other plum position or retirement position as a promise. But Bihar will become a BJP ruled state much before. I wouldn't be surprised if it happens before 2024 election, or they may wait for 2024 election, keep Nitish Kumar as the CM for the moment until 2024 election, and then provide an outside support for Nitish Kumar. And after the election is over, this transfer of power would happen. Some sort of formula is being worked out by Giriraj Singh, I think, who is the person who is dealing, making these negotiations and discussions. So highly placed sources tell me that a big change may happen, maybe to the closest to the Ram Janmabhoomi, the Ram Mandir, Samprokshanam or Pran Pratishtha. During that time itself, some changes would happen. So 2024 sees high amount of political, equations are being, changing very fast. And then we need to keep track of all these things, Shriyarji, because I wouldn't be surprised that if these things happen much before 2024 election.
Thank you so much, sir. The last topic for today: RBI gaming the rupee conversion ratio with the United States. Typically, what happens is, if there is a pressure on the rupee, meaning like people want a lot of dollars because they are importing stuff or things like that, then the RBI steps in and makes it. India has a fairly big foreign exchange reserve, so it can easily make that available. So that is what usually happens, and then the dollar falls down and comes back to a stable state. What is happening now, sir?
So, and somewhere on 22nd or 23rd of December, International Monetary Fund reclassified India's de facto exchange rate regime from a floating to stabilized arrangement, not for future, let me tell you that, it was for a December 2022 to October 2023 period. They just reclassified as part of the review, saying that India moved from a floating exchange regime to stabilized arrangement regime. I'll just explain in 2 seconds what does this mean. In a floating arrangement means the demand and supply in the market determines the rate of exchange. Say, for example, when we are talking about 82 rupees to $1, it's a demand and supply of the dollar that exerts the pressure on the Indian rupee to either gain or to lose. But in a stabilized, the stabilized arrangement model or the regime, what happens is RBI, central bank, decides what is the range of exchange rate should be. Say, for example, they determine 82.1 to 82.9. Between that, the floating rate or the buy and sell, the demand and supply will work. But the lowest can be 82.1 rupee per dollar. The highest can be 82.9 rupees per dollar. So which means it's a stabilized arrangement that the RBI gets into. Say, for example, China decides what the exchange rate should be. Normally, a market-driven and the intrinsic value of the currency determines. It's a currency war. Generally, when you talk about a currency war, it is a devaluation that they may do to gain international businesses or gain more export, income. So the current account deficit can be managed very effectively. The inflationary interventions that the RBI does can be managed significantly when the central bank decides what should be the exchange rate. But having said that, it also can backfire. No longer you will have a protection of the market-driven conditions. No longer, one can just pump dollars into the market or buy back dollars from the market and control the prices, or rather, allow the market functions to decide or stabilize a currency. So there are pros and cons available in that. But having said that, has India done this to project a differential GDP projections? When we talk about the fifth largest economy, $5 trillion economy and all, but did India use this opportunity? Did RBI game on the rupee in the last 1 year to gain a momentum? Why IMF came to this conclusion is when the entire global currency was falling, India was almost like Indian currency was stable or even gained significantly against the global currency, but it lost a bit, not too much, a bit against the US dollar. The reason is very, very clear. US dollar became much more stronger. But what happens is why India needs to get into this sort of a regime, especially now when there is a economic pressure or the economic terrorism being unleashed on India by so many vested interests, including the US to a major extent, European countries and others, seeing India becoming an economic superpower. They may suppose what happens if US pulls out, buys back a significant amount of dollar from India, or the Indian investors or the stock market investors take their money out and then goes and invests in US dollar treasury bills, Indian economy will quickly collapse or it will get unstable very quickly. But if RBI actually gains the exchange rate regime, then at least Indian economy will be protected. And second reason why India wants to do this or enter into this, it's a double-edged sword. Let me remind the viewers, it's a double-edged sword in a macroeconomic situation. What happens when they do that is, India is the largest self-reliant producer, because India no longer is a services-oriented exporter. They are becoming a manufacturing hub. Manufacturing as a service is being one of the key themes that India has progressed in the last 3-4 years, where one may say so. Though Make in India, Startup India, all these initiatives, while it was initially a failure, but it gained momentum after 2-3 years of this inception of these schemes. But today we are reaping the benefits of it, and India becoming a manufacturing hub. So if India wants to become a net exporter and make the import costly, then they should have the lever and not allow the market to decide that. So, for example, tomorrow US pumps in $1 trillion into Indian market. Just a wild thought. all of a sudden our exports will become dearer. Our imports will become much more cheaper because dollar to Indian rupee will fall to even 65, 70 rupees. In US can do that if they want to destabilize, or China can do that if they want to destabilize at the cost of their own economy. They can destabilize Indian economy very quickly by not creating any other amount of economic terrorism, by just pumping in significant amount of dollars into the market. So make dollar, much more freely available and then no longer dearer. So when that happens, our imports will increase and our exports will become costlier, and which means that Indian economy will start suffering. So to protect that, government takes control of what the exchange rate should be. So tomorrow, if China pumps in $500 billion into Indian market for some reasons through various front organizations, no problem. We still decide what should be the exchange rate. So my import will be costlier, my export will be cheaper, and hence I'll still continue to export. So I'll be able to counter those sort of economic terrorism that is being played, state-played economic terrorism. I think that is the reason why IMF also is concerned that India is taking this corrective measures or affirmative actions on them. But we need to wait and watch. But this is the first time IMF has voiced their opinion about India, RBI gaming the rupee. But is this going to be, is it going to benefit India? At least it has benefited in the last 1 year when I see that. And one has to see that how our policies, economic policies, and monetary policies are planned in the subsequent quarters to come. Especially when BJP comes back with a much more stronger mandate, then I think India will become another basket of currency. IMF will have no other go but to recognize Indian rupee as a basket of currency. Already India started doing a bartering system. They no longer buy petrol. Majority, at least 30 to 40% of our fuel is not bought on a petrodollar basis. We buy on a exchange our own currency basis. And there are several countries with which we have entered into agreement that we will do trade using Indian currency as a currency of trade. So IMF will have no other choice but to accept Indian rupee as a basket of currency, internationally accepted basket of currency. I think we are going towards that regime. So one has to play this game very, very carefully. If it is played well, another year or so, I think, the economic superpower, we are already achieving it. And we will also become a major player in the international currency war. I think that's where I want to leave the viewers with this, because there are several reports that keeps coming on this. So I thought I'll explain to them in a simple way on that.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, Bhargava.
Excuse me. I have. If you don't mind, can you read the question and then answer it? Because
I will do that. I will do that, sir. Please, take care. I'll do that. Please keep posting the questions. Destiny's Child asked Sriram, how can voters be clarified about the aspersions caused over EVMs by opposition to be certified as foolproof? Okay, I think I wrote on it in Twitter. I'll just quickly explain. See, EVM is like a calculator, unlike Prashant Bhushan's claim or Sam Pitroda's claim. In fact, I read a very funny message from my friend Anand Ranganathan on a tweet, where Sam Pitroda has tweeted saying that, give me the EVM for 1 year, I'll tell you what is the fault in it. He actually wrote saying that you have been having Rahul Gandhi for 40 years, but you couldn't find what the fault is with him. So very, in an apt and way that he had represented. But electronic voting machines is like a calculator. There are a significant amount of checks and balances. There is one 2011 video that Prashant Bhushan has published or tweeted a couple of days back, saying that one can tamper the EVMs. Come on, there are lakhs and lakhs of EVMs have to be tampered, and to do that, you cannot tamper the programming logic. If one does the programming logic, the decision of which button belongs to BJP candidate is not decided. That BJP is always in the Bharatiya Janata Party is a second, because Aam Aadmi Party is in A, BJP is B, Congress is C. So second button is not always BJP. It is a combination of national parties, then state parties, then the independents in an alphabetical order. So BJP is a national party, and Congress is a national party, and the state party is DMK, ADMK, say for example in Tamil Nadu. So, and then the alphabetical order of the candidate who is contesting. So it could be in one constituency, it could be BJP can be in the third, another it could be sixth also. There are cases where it has happened that way. So that is decided just a week or 10 days before the election happens. And then when they configure the EMI, the control units or the voting machines that are being there, when they configure that, what happens is all the representatives or the parties, recognized parties, or for each constituency, the electoral officer configures this particular machine, they test it, and then they seal it. Okay. So that also the video claimed that, it works for the first 100 inputs, and then, later on, the program is changed in such a way. The third is just the day of the election, individual booths, the booth representative or the parties once again do the testing before resetting that to 0. So that also done, the checks and balances are done. So you need to buy all the party representatives, booth agents, in order to say that tamper a voting machine in that order. Okay. The third, the second question, sorry, I'll just complete it in 30 seconds. And after that, there is a VVPAT. Whenever you press a button, the candidate sees in a printed paper. So it's a question of ballot as well as an electronic record is being stored. So that video claimed that one could just put another screen on top of the display screen, and then where with a Bluetooth device you could just change it. Sorry, this machine does not have any protocol. This machine doesn't have any internet IP protocol. We call it internet protocol. It doesn't have any internet protocol or network protocol for it to be connected through a different system wirelessly, even if it is kept in the safe room. So, and on top of that, there is a VVPAT today available. So there is a ballot, printed ballot is available, as well as an electronic. So it is tamper proof, foolproof. There are enough number of checks and balances happen. So please do spread this message that, and okay, fine, then Telangana, how did BJP lose? They could have won that also. Karnataka, how did they lose? So one has to actually ask this very difficult questions. And election commission had asked multiple times, come and tamper this or hack this machine. Nobody has been able to do it. So I'm convinced that it is hack proof. Anything electronic can be hacked, but this one cannot. And say, for example, even if I remove a memory and then replace a memory with a redefined in the storage space in the where it has been stored, that's also not possible. The moment you remove a memory and put a new memory chip in it formats, and then no record would be available. So which means that particular booth will be countermanded, and then the election have to be conducted. So a lot of checks and balances EC has done. Supreme Court has gone through this multiple number of times. It is even now is tamper proof. What that Michigan University is comparing, professor from Michigan University comparing, is a California-based electronic voting machine, which is not the same as Indian voting machine, Indian EVM. Next question, please. Pawan Kishore asks SSG, Namaskaram, sir. Do you see there will be an agreement in INDI alliance for seat sharing? Is BJP preparing for election with united opposition mind? Yes, Pawan. I don't think there will be an agreement at all, even in January or February. For example, in Punjab, Aam Aadmi Party will not allow share seats to Congress. In Delhi, they may be willing to share the seats because there are 3 seats where if Congress and Aam Aadmi Party aligns together, there is a fighting chance to oppose BJP and then maybe gain a seat or so. So that way, they may have they may form an alliance in Delhi. So the adjacent state, they won't form an alliance, whereas in Delhi they may form an alliance. So sorry, I my internet connection got disrupted. So there are about 200 odd seats where BJP and Congress are facing each other, and the success rate is somewhere around 85 to 90%. So BJP is preparing the election for a united opposition mind, because anyway these are opposition parties. DMK and BJP are opponent in Tamil Nadu. TMC and BJP are opponent in West Bengal. You talk about RJD is opponent in Bihar. Samajwadi Party is anyway opposing BJP in Uttar Pradesh. Only place where Congress can add is in Uttar Pradesh. Last time they were not together, and this time they may be together, but doesn't matter much. Nothing going to happen there. So other than probably Uttar Pradesh, Congress probably will not add anything big vote share or seat share to this India alliance. But I don't see that they will be able to put up a common candidate in 400 odd seats. Maybe they will be able to put up a 200 odd seats in the common candidate. But other than that, I don't think Congress cannot allow themselves to be marginalized to 250 to 280 seats and then play a second fiddle to all these regional parties. Their ego will not allow them. Next question, please. Thank you, Vignesh. And new bill not addressing extramarital affairs and sex. This is a big cause of concern with regard to Indian societal structure. I think, this bill is not going to change the cultural aspects of it. The extramarital affairs, as long as it is consensual, is still accepted. Between the husband and wife, they probably need to deal with it through a different civil proceedings, and it is not cheating on them. As the moment it is marriage is done, the cheating goes off. And of course, if there are other abuse of women by a male, and those needs to be taken care. I think it is the societal structure needs to be governed by your cultural fabric of the nation rather than criminal proceedings. That's my humble opinion, Vignesh. Next question, please. Neta Mafia asks SS, has Rahul Gang activated now Toolkit to disrupt transport sector in name of some new law passed affecting truckers? They are trying to disrupt trucks even in Chicken's Neck corridor in Bengal. See, Toolkit will start playing a major role between now and 2024 election. Some of this could be agitation by transporters. Some of this could be a religious unrest. Some of this could be, foreign media influencers or foreign influencers who try to create a disruption, talk ill about it. So I think more and more they do it, BJP will stand to gain. I think the only way that the India Alliance or Rahul Gang can get on top of Modi election mission is to work on the local issues. They succeeded that very much in Himachal Pradesh. They succeeded well in Bangalore or rather Karnataka to a major extent. I think they need to take the local issues, talk about it, create a narrative. But what happens is there is an inconsistency in narrative creation by the Congress. So as long as they are inconsistent in creating a narrative, I'm not sure whether you guys would have seen it. Modi visited the 10th crore recipient of Ujjwala scheme beneficiary. Imagine imagine the narrative that he was able to sell. I think the more world famous PR agencies have to learn a lesson or two from Modi ji on that. He just used that one occasion where he visited that house, had a chai there, and he talked about every benefit a poor would get from his government in that one stroke. I think, narrative setting is that. And you take any number of, schemes that, talk about between 2014 to now, the pro-poor impact, schemes. I think, there is a significant amount of achievement that has been done. Houses to people, health through Ayushman Bharat, food grains through, the Anna Yojana schemes, and water through Jal Jeevan schemes, and Swachh Bharat, through which, you could build a toilet, and women empowerment. So you just keep naming one after the other, one after the other, one after the other. I think it's a pro-poor. So people start seeing their benefits. Some of the state units have not passed that benefit to their end users. Some of the state units have claimed that, like DMK has put a sticker on top of it saying that they did that. But nevertheless, it is the end of the day, Modi gains that where he has to gain. I think, Rahul Gang is still not up to the mark on setting the narrative. They need a narrative creator. They are inconsistent in creating a narrative. They are good in shoot and scoot, but they are not able to sustain that sort of a narrative build-up. They do it every time, before a parliament starts, and then they have eggs on their face. I think they need to actually rework their strategy, and too late for 2024, in my humble opinion. Next question, please. Rohit Akshay, what is the progress in Ponmudi case? What will be the status of DMK in the India alliance in near future? I think Ponmudi's case, he has time for 30 days. Time has been given. My humble opinion and my limited knowledge on the legal system, I think Supreme Court will not give him that leeway to not get arrested, not stay his sentence. They will ask him to get arrested and then apply for a bail through a normal process, and then come for an appeal, come for a special leave petition to challenge his conviction itself. He doesn't have an appeal option here. And DMK status in India alliance, I think only Congress wants DMK at this point in time, and DMK badly wants Congress in Tamil Nadu. If DMK gives up on Congress, ADMK will be happy to grab Congress and then give them 15 to 20 seats in Tamil Nadu. Maybe Congress will struggle to find, they may have a heart attack and then struggle to find a candidate in those many seats. That's a different story. But DMK needs Congress, Congress needs DMK in Tamil Nadu. That's a vice versa equation. So DMK will go all out to retain Congress in Tamil Nadu. They don't give a damn about what happens outside of, when they cross Gumudi-Pundi outside of Tamil Nadu. Congress, on the contrary, if they feel that they are going to lose very badly, maybe 8 to 10 seats or even 15 seats DMK offers, and a probability of 100% victory, for the sake of 15 seats, they may not want to lose their, base in the Hindi heartland and Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh and all these places. If they see the threat, which I doubt, they probably won't be able to read it very clearly. But if they read the threat, they may even dump DMK and then go with ADMK, find their chances of, getting a 5-6 seats from here and then retaining their base in that. So DMK is in a precarious situation to be part of the India alliance. Other than Congress, nobody needs DMK in the India alliance. In fact, they are an embarrassment to them. They are a baggage to them. And Modi will spin this Sanatana Dharma issue. Modi will spin this, I think recently we saw an old video of Dayanidhi Maran getting circulated, caste slurs being circulated. So I think, BJP will start doing this, more and more, translate this for the benefits of the Hindi people, and then, corner DMK to leave India alliance, or force India alliance partners to kick out DMK, which means make Congress to decide between the two. I think Congress will be in a catch-22 situation sooner or later, in my opinion. Next question, please. Thank you, Vignesh. BJP should dump Niku to grow in Bihar. In AP, there is a huge anti-incumbency against YSRCP. AP may show the surprise in 2024, BJP not capitalizing AP. I'll come to AP first. I think, yes, YSRCP has an anti-incumbency, but equally Chandrababu Naidu is not very popular. Equally, Congress is not popular at this time. Maybe Congress will try this game of what they did in Telangana in AP. But one advantage Congress had in Telangana is they could claim emotionally Congress formed the alliance Congress formed Telangana and helped forming the separate statehood. That will work against them in Andhra Pradesh. So Congress in a very bad shape. So at this point in time, BJP would not gain much in AP. They have about 8 to 10% or even 12% vote share. They may be willing to wipe out Congress and Chandrababu Naidu once and for all in Andhra Pradesh and allow YSRCP to continue. In BJP, in Bihar, I think, Nitish Kumar, BJP will not accept. As I told, they are willing to take JDU into the NDA, but not Nitish Kumar. I think that's what the equation is being. Hope that I answered that question. Can we just take one last question and then close this, Sriram? Okay, one last question, please. Subramanian Viswanathan, ask Sriramji, what is your expectation of number of MPs winning from BJP alliance from Tamil Nadu, especially Modi ji support and Annamalai hard work with sincerity? So this is very early to answer, Subramaniam ji, because what sort of alliance formation is going to be there? So let me take the current as-is situation. If DMK alliance is intact, so DMK will win about 25 to 30 very easily. About 3 to 4 for NDA, in my humble opinion, and remaining for ADMK if they are able to form an alliance at all. But if they are going to form an alliance with some of the fringe elements like an SDPI or something, I don't think they are going to gain even that. Then that will go to DMK. There are possibilities that some of the ADMK top leaders may switch camp to BJP. Some from Congress, which I am very sure of, is in being discussed. If they shift, then those seats will be secured by BJP. Even with that, I don't see more than 3. Kanyakumari is the best possible, but if Pon Radhakrishnan is going to contest from there, for sure BJP will lose. And if it is a Congress, DMK combined and BJP, so BJP has to do a totally different social re-engineering in Kanyakumari. Actually, I have given us some formula to BJP a year back, how they should do the social engineering in Kanyakumari, and they are working on it. I assume that they are working on it. Vellore with A.C. Shanmugam and Tenkasi is a very good probability. Virudhunagar maybe because of linguistic minority with Professor Srinivasan aspiring to contest. South Chennai, there are many people who are contending for that. I think it's Jaikumar will be a very tough competitor in that particular seat, and then DMK may even have a tacit understanding with Jaikumar for his son to win. So South Chennai is going to be difficult. So I put about 3 maximum for BJP, 0 to 3. I'm not going to say 3 they'll get. 0 to 3 is what I will aim for BJP. But the vote share is going to be significant, somewhere around about 15 to 18% is what I anticipate. If they play the alliances carefully, if they build an alliances carefully, 15 to 18%, and then sub 20 for ADMK. So that is how I see it. Vani Satyan, why is Congress not accepting Ram Mandir invite and have some credibility in the eyes of Hindus? I think, they are a minority appeasement party. So for them, the Ram Mandir anyway is a given pole position for BJP. So ideally, in my humble opinion, keeping the political lineage away, we should all embrace Ram Mandir. It's an emotion. It is a civilization. It's not just a Hindu religious belief Mandir. Ram, Maryada Purushottam, Ram it's an emotional issue. Whenever I talk about it, I just get goosebumps. I get tears in my eyes. And 22nd of January, I'll be looking forward to this. So I think Congress is a minority appeasement party. So that's why, they don't want to use this. Thank you, Sri Ayerji, and then thank you, P Guru's, audience for a wonderful time. I think we had about more than 1 hour discussion, 1.25 hour discussion. Hope I was able to provide some of the answers and insight into some of the things, political and legal as well as economic situations that has happened in the last 1 year. And 2024 is going to be a very exciting year for all of us. Thank you very much.